Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Heart overhead, sister, every single time. Heart overhead every single time. So let me share with you a conversation I had with my son, Tyson, this morning. So we were driving to school, and he's asking me questions about the body and stuff. So we're talking about that and how cool the body is and how the body heals. And, you know, we started talking about a few more things, and he was telling me a situation where, I don't know the whole thing. You know, when you're kind of hearing some nice stories of your kids, like, not really following all of it, but like, I'm getting what I need to get from it. So, two of his friends in class, and it was someone supposed to be a special helper, and one was saying one thing and the other was saying the other. And he was like, well, you know, this one girl told me this, but I believe the other girl. And I said, well, why was that? And he goes, well, I just knew. And then he kind of told me too, well, you know, this other girl, she lies all the time, so she's probably lying again. And so I'm going to go with girl number 2, right? She's the one who's telling the truth. But when he said, I just knew, I'm like, this is a good opening for me to not have a conversation about trusting inside your heart. Because what Tyson also said to me too, it's like we're talking about these things and we're at a light. So, you know, he's sitting in the back seat, Tyson's 7.5, his booster seat. We're sitting in the back He's sitting in the back. I'm not in the back. I'm driving the car. And we're stopped at the light so I can turn back and actually like look at him for a moment as we were talking about things. And he had this smile on his face. And sometimes that smile is like there's something sweet happening. And sometimes it's like he's going to say something mean right now. Or he's got that little twinkly look in his eye like he's, you know, something mischievous, right? And I go, what is it, buddy? He goes, I love it when you look at me happy, mommy. And I'm like, oh, buddy. I'm like tearing up as he's telling me this. And like I said to him, I said, Tyson, I go, you will always be in my heart. And so that's what's really spurred this conversation of like listening to your heart and not your head. And I said, listen, with your 2 friends, right, you kind of said like, hey, so this thing's happened before and I'm probably going to go with this person because I think she's telling the truth and not the other one. But when you said, Tyson, I just knew, I go, that is listening to your heart. That's listening to your heart. And I said, listen, buddy, there are going to be a lot of people in your life that will tell you that it's more important for you to be in your head than in your heart. That you should question your heart. That your heart might lead you the wrong direction. That your heart doesn't know all the answers. And I want you to know, honey, that like, that's just not true. You always listen to your heart. Your heart over your head every single time. Use your brain, of course. Think about things. Question things, learn about things, but don't ever think that that's more important than your heart, because your heart always knows the answers. It's so funny too. I don't know if you have children, you will understand this. It's like when you talk to kids, you talk about, you know, to look inside. He's like, how do I look inside my body? And I'm like, oh, right, I can't use like literal terms with a 7.5-year-old, right? And I'm like, well, but it's just more, it's like it's a feeling. You just know it. You just know it, right? And so this is a message I want to speak into you today is, you know, we live in this society that really values outside information. Who's the expert? Where's the resources? Let me Google it. Let me go put up a poll on Facebook and get everybody's feedback. Information. Information's great. Having access to resources is great. I think it's a beautiful thing. But the danger comes when we start to ignore the voice inside, when we start to question what's in our heart, and we think that in our head is actually the more important thing. Sister, it's not. It's not. And what often comes about, what's been my experience, is that when we go into a place of in our head and thinking we need more information, we got to ask more people, we got to study some more, we got to take that next course, we got to listen to one more podcast, that what we're really saying is, I'm afraid to listen to the voice inside. I'm afraid to follow really what's in my heart. Because what if it doesn't work out? What if I fail at whatever this thing is that I want to do? And you create all these stories about it, and you question it. You question the voice inside, you question your heart. And then, so interesting, I'm doing a 7-day marriage masterclass right now, and on how to heal your marriage. And the very first day we talked about trusting. Like, one of the biggest questions that I've gotten feedback from is like, how do I trust my husband? How do I trust? And so one of the things we talked about was like, well, number one, if you want to learn how to trust somebody else, you got to trust yourself first. And that means that you got to listen to the voice inside. AKA listen to your heart, not be in your head about stuff. And it's the hardest thing to do, because it's going to feel like, you know what a trust fall is, or like a free fall, a trust fall. It's when you're like standing and like you fall back and somebody catches you, right? It's so funny when I see my kids do it, they'll just do it. Like my son Kai, he'll just fall right back onto the couch. He thinks it's funny to stand up on the arm of the couch and just like fall right back. And I'm like, ooh, dude, you could bounce off that and then onto the coffee table, the wooden hard coffee table right next to you. But that trust, like really trusting your heart. Because again, our society places so much emphasis on non-emotional intelligence, by the way. Intellectual intelligence, right? Does that make any sense? Intellectual intelligence? Information over wisdom, information over knowing, head over heart. And I think it is one of the biggest things that's fucked us over in society. I really truly believe that. Because, think, how many times have you felt something, you didn't even have to make sense, and most likely it made no sense. And so you went into, you're like, no, I'm gonna so this could be like someone you chose as a partner, romantic relationship, or just a friendship. It could be someone that maybe you hired if you run a business. I mean, I can tell you, I ignored the voice many times over when we were in practice with hiring staff, because I'd be like, this doesn't feel right. Like, no, but we gotta get someone to practice. We gotta fill that position. We need help. And I would go into my head and I would overpower that. And, eventually it would not work out. It could be a short period of time. It could be longer. It could be the person quit. It could be like, we have to fire them and let them go. Like, think of a time when you didn't listen to the voice about something that you wanted to do, when you were in your heart about something, but you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if And when you ignored the voice inside, there are 3 words that you inevitably said at some point. Because when you ignored it, and then that thing happened that you didn't want to have happen, or the thing that you felt actually came to fruition, you said these 3 words. I knew it. And you're like, I knew it. But yet you ignored it. See, that's an example of you valuing your head over your heart. You felt something. You felt it within your heart, your gut, if you want to call it that, the voice inside. But you ignored it because you valued your head more over your heart. You said, wait a second, hold on. Let me first ask about 10 friends. Oh, wait, hold on, that's not enough information. Let me now I'm going to Google this. I'm going to Google some stuff about it. Let me read this book. Once I read the book, then I will find the answers. Wait a second. Once I'm done with the school year for the kids and then July hit, well, then I can. And really, listen, you and I know what this really means. You are afraid. You're scared to make a move. You're afraid to listen inside because you haven't done that for so long. I know you did it as a kid. This is how we all start in the world. And it's being around those that value, again, head over heart. School's a great example of it, more than anything, at least traditional kind of school, that begins to plant that seed to say, no, don't believe your heart. Your heart will fuck you over. Don't do that. No, don't. That's that's a pipe dream if you live in your heart. That's don't do that. That's you're up in the clouds. You gotta be realistic. You have to be this is real life. You can't listen to your heart. What if it brings you to the wrong place? You gotta be logical about it. I don't know why I'm getting this funny voice, but there's some seriousness to this, right? But your heart over your head every single time. And yes, it'll feel like a free fall, for sure. It'll feel like, what the hell? Am I falling back or into? Trust and surrender. Trust and surrender. Your heart is always the right way to go. Always. Always. So here's your more tip for today. I want you to think about a decision that you're kind of struggling with right now in your life. Made a choice. You're like, should I go here? Should I go there? Should I take this choice? Should I take this opportunity in front of me? And I want you to just really ask yourself this question. Am I more in my head or my heart about it? And if you're more in your head about it, if you're in your heart, cool, stay there and figure, really just listen for what the answer is for you. By the way, it's your answer. It's not somebody else to give you the answer. It's for you to find out. Because nobody can feel and see inside your heart except for you. But if you're in your head about this right now, the one action step you can take in the next 24 hours to move from your head to your heart. You can simply just be like, you know what? I just need to open up my journal, start writing about this, and really see what comes out, what I'm really feeling inside. It can be that you just, you take a look at all the stuff that you've done or the excuses, and you're like, I'm just throwing all this shit out the door. I'm going to burn all this stuff to the ground because none of this matters. I just need to be in my heart. Maybe you're going to sit and you're going to meditate and just really listen inside. Maybe you're going to go for a walk and get out in nature because you've ignored the voice for so long. You've not been in your heart for so long that you don't know what that feels like anymore. So it's like a muscle. You're going to need to build that again. But just like there is muscle memory, there will be a heart memory. You'll remember how to do this. It just may take some time. So what is one action step you can do the next 24 hours that's going to move you from your head back into your heart and allow you to really find what the answer is for you with that decision that you're struggling with right now? So sister, I want to leave you with a couple things. Number one, if you do not already subscribe to the podcast, I want you to do that right now. So that way you'll get every single new episode as it comes out 5 days a week. And in addition, to leave a 5-star review on iTunes. I would love for you to be the catalyst to be able to encourage another woman who could be hearing this podcast and connects with your words, resonates with what you're saying, and says, I'm going to check this out. And really here's something for her in this podcast, and you have the chance to change another woman's life, sister. Isn't that awesome? Just by you just simply taking a couple minutes and saying, let me just write my review and my thoughts about the podcast. So subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Number 2, make sure to subscribe to the newsletter. So there were so many amazing things that are coming out. Listen, the masterclass that I mentioned, that was only open for 100 women, and then the doors closed. I got 6 women that are like, can I get in? Can I get in? And we've already started today's, as I record this podcast, I'm starting today's day 3 of the 7 days. It's like, no, it's closed. You missed it. Missed it. There's no exceptions. You miss shit in life, it's done, right? So make sure to get in the newsletter. In addition, I'm going to send you the More For Action Guide, which is how to start your day in power, and 2 very powerful trainings to really remember who you are and to be able to get back into your heart again. And so that's over at drkarenosborn.com/action guide, drkarenosborn.com/action guide. And then number 3, I want you to head over to the Woman Wanting More store. A lot of you don't know that actually exists yet. So I created this about 6 weeks ago, and they had this crazy idea. I'm like, what if for some women that are having a real challenge with really voicing their beliefs, what they think, what they know to be true, what's in their heart. What if I put these words on t-shirts and tank tops and beanies and mugs and hoodies, and they were able to wear this? So if they don't really have the strength yet to say, hey, this is what I believe, then they can wear it on the outside so that they, they really, you wear who you are. You wear what you believe to be true. And I know this might sound kind of funny. You're like, but Karen, there's lots of things that say I'm powerful and I'm a queen and trust and surrender. But these mean something. This is not just something cool to say. This is a lot of the culture and the messaging here in the movement with Women Wanting More. So head over to shop.womenwantingmore.com and make sure to enter in the discount code podcast, PODCAST at checkout, and you'll get an additional 10% off your entire order, and shipping is on me. So I will talk to you the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from you doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, Subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.